Howdy folks, I'm Bright Carner Blue, breezily bypassing besotted beetles.
I'm Amber.
And here are more besotted beetles for us to bypass. It looks like they were just Reddit stories. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, please see the end of the video. Let's get started. Alright folks, our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Waking Up My Husband by Doing Chores After His Alarm Went Off for an Hour? It's been a long week getting used to a brand new job that is physically more demanding than I anticipated, and getting the kids up and off to school, which just started back, and everyone out the door on time for me to be at work at 6:50 a.m. every day. I'm exhausted to the point that I'm falling asleep at the dinner table in the evenings. I promised myself that I could sleep in on a Saturday and catch up on rest. My spouse can sleep through a tornado hitting the house, and his alarm started going off at 4 a.m. Now here's the deal. We sleep in separate rooms on separate sides of the house. I was buried under 3 dogs and 2 kids, and I had a noise machine playing, and there were 2 closed doors between us. I lay there while his alarm went off for about 45 minutes. 45 minutes of just trying to ignore it and sleep through it before I called his phone, hoping that it would trigger the alarm to stop, or he would think that it was his work calling him and he would stop his phone. Well, I sent several texts asking him to stop his alarm. I laid in bed, unable to do anything else but let the tears of frustration stream down my face. He does this every weekend and will routinely sleep until noon, letting his alarm go off multiple times just to ring. So I got up and I decided to start cleaning. I loudly started doing a load of laundry, and then I decided to start vacuuming outside of his doorway. When he woke up, I smiled and cheerfully called out, "Good morning." He's mad. Cussing, stomping, rips the vacuum cord out of the wall and says, "What in the world are you doing? You're going to wake up the whole house." Well, your alarm has been going off for an hour at this point, so I figured that you didn't mind if I made noise. Did you want to sleep in? He's threatening to leave me and sleep in his car at work. This is something that I've begged him for years to change. Everyone has the same type of alarm on their phones, and he can easily change it so that the alarms don't go off on Saturdays. I've asked him to change them more times than I can remember. At this point, it feels deliberate, and my cares are all spent at this point in time. So am I the jerk for waking him up by cleaning? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. He has shown zero compassion or empathy toward you, and it's time that he actually starts. Like, why does it matter that he gets woken up but not you? Why can he keep you awake? You've routinely communicated your frustration to him. This isn't like the first time it's ever happened. Even then, like, I wouldn't think it's necessarily that bad to wake him up so you can be like, "Hey, can you stop your alarm?"
Yeah.
But this has been an ongoing problem for a very long time, and he needs to stop.
Well, I certainly understand OP's frustration. And I think, like, given that this is a ongoing conversation, and it isn't the first time that this has been brought up, I don't think that OP was necessarily unjustified in doing this, right? As for his threat of going to work and sleeping in, I mean, take him up on it? I don't know.
Yeah, let him sleep in his car. Why is that a problem?
Like, let him go. Let him go sleep in his car. The fact of the matter is that he's being an inconsiderate individual. Plain and simple. He is not allowing OP to sleep in. He knows that she's a lighter sleeper, and instead of doing the responsible thing and just turning his alarm off on the weekends if he's going to sleep until noon, he just lets it ring and bother the whole house, right? And, it's time that he get a taste of his own medicine, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, under normal circumstances, I would say this is probably a pretty unhealthy way of handling the situation. I still think that it's unhealthy, right? Maybe they need to go into marriage counseling or something like that. But it also seems like he's being very inconsiderate in general.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Slater says, "Oh my goodness, let him leave," and heartily encourage him to sleep in the car. Problem solved. I'll get bounced out of here if I say anything more. I would be 16 different flavors of apocalyptic with rage right now. Not the jerk. And Vicious General 8610 says, "Same, he sounds like an insufferable selfish jerk." And Visenya Seti says, "I actually let mine sleep in the car and wouldn't talk about it with him since it was a martyrdom and manipulation. It killed his neck and he stopped." Well, that's good to know. And PLM56 says, not the jerk. Hand him his car keys and tell him to pack his bags. And Firm Airline 8912 says, deal. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Paying for My Credit Card Bill and Not Telling My Wife? I'm a 36-year-old male, and my wife, a 46-year-old female, just had a massive argument because I paid my $200 credit card bill. I work 40 plus hours a week and decided to pay my credit card bill out of my paycheck. My wife works 32 plus hours a week. I bring home double than what she does, even though she works 40 hours. All of the other bills are paid up, and we had to use the credit cards while she was on maternity leave. So now I was wanting to get them paid off. I told her after I paid the bills. She then proceeded to get mad because I did it without her knowing. She said that all I care about is getting my credit cards paid off and that I should have paid just the minimum on them. She told me that she hasn't got anything in the last month for herself. I then told her that she was just wearing a brand new pair of Hey Dudes that she got, and she just got a pair before that about a month ago without me knowing till she brung them home. She said that $200 purchase is not comparable with a $60 purchase. She said that I need to grow up and not worry about my credit cards so much. She then told me that she's very much wanting a divorce because of my deceiving her about what I spend my money on. Am I the jerk for trying to pay down my credit cards? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, this is not a purchase. Paying off a credit card bill, like paying off bills, does not count toward like your fun expenditures. So her being like, oh, well, you just spent $200 paying off a bill, like, and I only get a $60 purchase. That's not the same. Like,
Or two $60 purchases is the way I'm kind of reading that.
Yeah. So it's like, take her up on the divorce option. Your bank will probably help. Thank you.
You know, the thing is, like, it's really strange that she's over here saying that OP's irresponsible for paying down their credit card debt because, like, that's one of the most responsible things you can do, right?
Well, there's so much misinformation and a lack of understanding around credit cards that, like, you know, it's an unfathomable amount of debt, and it looks so small at first, like, oh, I only have to pay blah, blah, blah. But if you only pay the minimum, you're going to be paying this off for years upon years upon years.
Well, you know, some of these credit cards, they charge like 20 or 30%, you know, and so 20 or 30% of $200, you know, where you're looking at anywhere between $20 and $60 extra for just the interest alone, right? And that's not a good deal. Maybe it's APR, APY, I don't remember. I mean, I've never paid actual, like, interest on my credit cards because I always pay them off at the end of the month because that's what responsible people do. They pay off their credit card so they don't get charged interest because that makes you pay even more money. And so I know, like, she's upset about not getting something for herself, but it's the thing that makes more sense, right? Like, they're going to have more available money in the future if he pays off this credit card now instead of the minimum. So I think she needs to go and see a financial advisor or financial counselor so that she can learn how to be more responsible with her money, right?
Yeah, well, and just to be clear, I know that, like, not everyone gets into credit card debt, like, intentionally, and, like, sometimes, like, with medical debt, there are circumstances beyond your control. So, like, sometimes people have to carry debt, and like, that's not anything to be ashamed of. But her philosophy here is very, very concerning and harmful.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk If I Divorce My Wife Because She Does Not Want Me Actively Involved in Raising Our Children? My wife, a 31-year-old female, and I, a 32-year-old male, have been together since college, and we've been married for 7 years. We have 3 children together, and I'm sick of either having to step back and let her raise the kids almost as a single mom, or fight with her because I did something with our children, even something as simple as feeding them. But that's where I'm at. She wasn't like this when our oldest was born. It started when she was pregnant with our twins. She would always tell me to tidy or run some errands when I wanted to spend some time with our children. Then she would keep him by her side the entire day, or she would go off somewhere if I said that we should all spend the day together and focus on our oldest. But when the twins came along, every time I went to feed or change the baby, she was telling me to go back to bed or run to the store or something like that. Whenever she caught me holding or doing anything with one of our kids, it was like I was committing a crime. When I would ask her what the issue was, she said that there was nothing, but I should just make myself useful, even if I was doing that. Well, one time she was delayed on the phone talking to her sister, so I put our oldest to bed and I got the twins fed. She freaked out and yelled at me for doing it without her. I told her that it wasn't like I went off of schedule and she was busy. She said that that wasn't the point. Then came the fights about me trying to be with the kids instead of working or running errands. When I took time off, I would make sure that I got time with the kids and she would be ready for a fight, and if I didn't let a fight happen, she would yell at me anyways. Whenever I didn't push though, she would find a way to keep the kids from me. I told her that it bothered me, and she said that it was all in my head. Another time she accused me of trying to hog the kids even though I hadn't been home all day. She hated me baby wearing. I was screamed at for picking up the kids from her parents' house one day. She was at an appointment and I was getting out of work, so I thought that it made sense. She told me that she decided to leave them with her parents, so I should respect that, and I told her that I was just as capable of taking care of them as her. She was then hospitalized briefly a couple months ago, and that's when I reached the point of whatever, we should file for divorce. I took some days off of work so that I could be with the kids, and she kept telling me to go back to work and let the kids stay with their parents until she got home. And she was screaming at me while she was at the hospital because I had the kids. She sent her parents to try and take them off of me twice. Well, then she recovered, and I told her that this couldn't continue, and if this was the way things would be, that we would divorce, and she screamed at me that I was a jerk trying to destroy our family and break up our kids' stability. Even my own parents told me that we should find a way to make it work, but she won't even sit down and talk to me. Therapy is out of the question on her part, and I just don't want the kids to see us fight every single time I interact with one of them. Will I be the jerk if I want to divorce? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I think, like, whatever is going on with her, the fact that she has put therapy off the table is a big issue here, because either one, she doesn't trust OP for one reason or another with the children, and that's not a good situation. And but like, she's still living with him and whatnot, so that's kind of odd. Or there's some kind of postpartum anxiety or something that makes her really worried about having the kid with anyone but her or her parents. Whatever is going on here, though, it's not OP's job to fix for her. Like, he deserves to be able to help raise his children and be a present parent. And if she is not willing to work with him, then he can get his 50-50 time through divorce.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what this boils down. It sounds like OP wants to be an active and involved parent, but is being stopped every single time they want to be. And it sounds like OP is trying to do chores around the house and is trying to balance the workload. So it doesn't sound like it's a matter of like her being burnt out and unable to like keep up with things. Because a lot of times people will complain that their spouse isn't doing enough X, Y, and Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, in that respect, I think that OP is doing their due diligence. I think they're doing the right thing here. And as for divorcing, this might be a rare time for an ultimatum to say, look, I know you don't want a divorce, but we either go to therapy and work this out, or we get a divorce because I can't go on like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in that case, you're allowed to set that down as an ultimatum. You say, we're either going to work this problem out or we're going to divorce, but I don't want the kids being in this environment anymore. What you're describing is instability. It's me kowtowing to you in order to keep the peace.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that OP is well within the right to divorce her at this point in time. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And JRM 1102 says, not the jerk, but to be honest, she does need therapy badly. But if you want to divorce, you should really document this behavior and get your stuff together because she's going to go for full custody. And OP replies, I have some of it already documented. A lot of text and voice messages that were sent. And I wrote a log while she was in the hospital about specific incidents. Well, I'm glad that OP is covering their butt here.
Mm-hmm.
And Common Street 8758 says, listen, there's something seriously wrong here, and she needs help. If I were you, I would talk to her parents privately and try to get to the bottom of what's wrong. My first thought, though, out of reading this, was that she was abused as a child. It sounds like it caused her to be afraid of you being alone with them. You can't go on like this, and you don't deserve to be treated like this. And OP replies, they see nothing wrong with her behavior, and she won't entertain talking to me either, so I don't know what I can do. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Buying My Girlfriend an Overpriced Dress at an Airport? So I'm a 28-year-old male, and my girlfriend is a 27-year-old female, and we were flying internationally with a long layover. On the first flight, the airplane toilet was disgusting by the time we landed. She came out very upset because the back of her skirt got wet from the toilet floor and smelled like pee. I felt bad for her, obviously, but here's where things went sideways. As soon as we landed for the layover, she went into one of those upscale airport clothing stores and found a simple dress. It was like $180 for something that I swear that you could get $40 elsewhere. She asked me to buy it for her because her own card got declined. She thinks that it was flagged for international purchases or something, and I refused. I don't believe in buying overpriced stuff at airports, especially when it's just out of convenience or embarrassment. I offered her my hoodie to tie around her waist so that she could feel more comfortable until we got to a hotel so that she could change, but she wasn't having it. Everyone is sweaty and disgusting traveling anyways, so it's not like it's such a huge deal. She claimed that people behind us noticed and said something, but I did not hear any such thing. Now, for some context, yes, I used the toilet before her, and yes, it was already gross. I may have made a little bit of an extra mess during my time, but it wasn't ideal, and it's not like I created the situation. Those tiny airport bathrooms are just not made for tall guys, and it's not like I could sit down either. Also, she was wearing a long skirt and heels for a long haul travel day, our 20-hour flight and layover. I told her before we left that maybe it wasn't the best idea, but she likes to be dressed up, which I get, but it just didn't seem practical. I genuinely thought that the heels made it harder for her to use the bathroom properly, like a balance or squat or whatever. So maybe some of that was on her. Anyways, she's still mad at me for not helping to fix the situation. I think that I handled it reasonably. I didn't cause the situation on purpose. I offered a temporary fix, and I didn't want to drop nearly $200 on a basic dress just because of a gross bathroom when we both have to clean up at the destination anyway. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Holy heck, yes, you're the jerk, OP. I mean, first of all, it sounds like she would have paid this for herself, and so she was probably just looking for you to front the cash for the time being. You let her sit in a pee-soaked dress for the rest of the flight because you thought the dress was overpriced.
Yeah.
Like, giving her a sweatshirt to wear over it doesn't fix that. She would still be smelling like pee. And the fact that you contributed to this only makes it worse. But, like, even if you hadn't, that's still a horrible thing to do to your partner.
Yeah, that's just it. This is a pretty bad situation in that respect. Like, I think that OP, I feel like almost like a spiteful type of thing. I told you not to get dressed up for this flight, but you did it anyways, and so now you're going to suffer the consequences type of thing, right? I think like if he was really that concerned, he could have said, hey, as long as you pay me back, I'll buy this dress for you, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily sound like they have combined finances or anything like that. And so if he did that, then I would be fine with it. I mean, I understand her not wanting to fly around with a, pee on her skirt here or smelling like urine. Like, that's not going to make for an enjoyable trip, right? It's going to make someone very self-conscious. And I get where she's coming from here. And I think that OP could have done a decent thing. Like, if this was money that she was willing to spend and wanted to spend, and she would have if it wasn't for her credit card, then, like, OP should have gone along with it, right? I just don't think that they were doing right by their partner in this case. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. The centrifuge.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I understand the wheel's feelings here.
All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What's a pup's favorite time of year?
Oh, a pup's favorite time of year is spring, I would imagine, so that they can go outside and not be frozen anymore, so that they're not popsicles anymore.
The dog days of August.
Ah.
And it's National Dog Day and also National Cherry Popsicle Day.
Ooh, those are all good days. So go find yourself a cherry popsicle and share it with a dog. And I have licorice spice. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy terrific Tuesday, spelled TWO. And folks, there's a live stream coming up on Friday. For more information, please see this chart. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on being a decent partner.
Don't make your partner like sit in clothes soaked with bodily fluids if you can help it.
And also let your partner help you care for kids.
Yeah.
That too. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.